got a pretty much looking the same. Yep, looking the same to me. Over on the AFRICOM side, we've got Das Kommandant and the Kurfürst. We've got Satyr UAW in the Kremlin. We've got Willy Wonka in the Georgia, and we've got the real I Am Some Lovin' in the Mikasa. Over on the BLEP Brat side, we have History Buff in the Kurfürst, Wibbleon in the Suvorov, Mick 777 in the Massachusetts, and Desolate in the Conqueror. This map, a much smaller map, is prone to spotting within probably the first minute and a half, as battleship spotting range is quite large. Sometimes we see battleships trying to run up the 10 line or run along the A line, trying to get some kind of crossfire potential. Other times we see people heavy commit to this lower section and just look for some real turning brawls between these islands. Really just comes down to what they want to do, but looks like personally the advantage is going to be over to AFRICOM with the Mikasa over on the edge of the map, while the Conqueror of Desolate's going to have to take a little time getting in there. That being said, not necessarily a bad thing, as the Conqueror does not want to commit too close, because when the Conqueror gets snuggled up, the Conqueror gets citadeled, and the heal button does not like that too much. None spotted to none spotted. Gonna be happening pretty soon though. Conqueror riding up the 6 line. We've got the Massachusetts committing, matching the Kremlin and the Kurfürst of AFRICOM. Georgia cutting wide. Looks like all 3 of them wanting to move together as a unit. Where one shoots, they all shoot. Like the Mighty Musketeers. Then we've got Kurfürst, Suvorov. Suvorov probably looking for an island to snuggle up to. As the Conqueror shells come out, first shells of the game. More shells following. Over the mountain, just behind the Kurfürst. Kurfürst actually coming out clean. But not the other Kurfürst. History Buff taking a bit of a whack. Down about 10k. And clunk, there's about a 6k into the Kurfürst. Not clean anymore, but History Buff still taking the worst end of the trade, actually popping the heal early, getting that one on cooldown. Kurfürst in the center ring, nobody to match it over on the Bleprat side. Pretty soon this one's going to be... Massachusetts of Mick might actually get the block, but there's some shells. That's going to be a reset. Thump, that's the Kurfürst, and the middle ring is reset. Both sides contesting the outer ring. Kurfürst continue to move for some island cover. Kremlin is bow out. Little surprised to see that. Georgia, I guess they're wondering maybe where all those positions are. History Buff continuing to take the bad end of the trade. Down to 77. He's down a quarter. Das Kommandant chiseled, everybody else clean. Kurfürst makes it to the island cover, but the Massachusetts of Mick is able to also lock down that center ring. Nobody having the brass cojones to venture into the center of the ring just so that they can get clapped. So it's a bit of a contest, staring versus staring. Oh, the Kurfürst actually out of the center ring as Das Kommandant leaving Mick to start capping it. Mick realizing, oh shit, I shouldn't be doing... Nope, and he's out of the ring too. Center cap is... Or sorry, the middle ring is uncontested as shots out from the Mikasa. Pretty damn broadside to 2 very large ships. Shells out from the Suvorov. One of which connects. Dink for about 3k. Real question, those big guns, are they going to find the Mikasa? One of them just got ignored as the Conqueror fires long range. Massachusetts secondaries are inbound and those guns are lined up. The shells are out. Does the mighty Mikasa weather the storm? Absolutely it does. That shell happened, it punched right through Mikasa, showing that not only is the moon made out of Swiss cheese, so is the Mikasa. And Kurfürst other, Das Kommandant looking to mirror that of History Buff. as he's weathered down to about 70k, coming around the island looking for some kind of crossfire. At this point, the Kremlin in Georgia still unmarked. No, the Kremlin has taken a little bit of a nip. And a little bit more of a nip. As return fire goes into the Conqueror, which is pushing the central bit of the cap, and there's the secondaries from a Kurfürst. That's going to be penning, depending on IFHE. It might be penning a little, it might be penning a lot. But that definitely doesn't look like manual secondaries to me, because that's one hell of a long spread. So that might not be quite the threat that it could be, as it's got just a consistent chisel, as opposed to a repressive shower. History Buff is recommitting. No crossfire over on the side of BLEP as they harden up at a Three Musketeer format. The TF-68 has disbanded the band as the Kurfürst went wide all the way down to 35, unable to find his solo album. That single just not landing in the market, and his reserve funds bleed dry. Meanwhile, Kremlin and Georgia continue their duo, keeping the original band's name, and at least getting by untouched. Das Kommandant takes a few additional shells, down to 27, and looks like he's burning, making his way back behind the island. That's going to block a fair bit. Mikasa actually holding that center ring. Kremlin looking like he could. Focus target is Das Kommandant, and still 450 to 450, nobody finding an advantage. But in terms of the trades, 229,000 health to 198. BLEP looking a little worse for the wear, although they do have a Conqueror with one hell of a heal. And I don't believe he's even used one of them. Suvorov is spotted. Kurfürst showering the area with secondary spam. A few more shells into the Conqueror that's burning. Conqueror doesn't give a shit about burning as he activates the heal. Tapping along at 4,000 health roughly a second. Maybe every second and a half. But nonetheless, he's printing his ship back, and that's going to start adding to the health counter. However, the Massachusetts, not the one with the super heal, Conqueror just about regaining damn near all of the ship as the Massachusetts retreats in vain. However, taking shots from the mighty Mikasa. Keeping him spotted and keeping him pressured. The Mikasa knows no fear. Kurfürst of Das Kommandant, able to kind of pick up some of his health. More shells out to that Massachusetts, down to 2,300. I don't think he's going to get away. The Mikasa forcing this Massachusetts to stay spotted. Ooh. So close as the Massachusetts dips all the way to 1,300, but is able to recover some of his health. Kremlin Mikasa spotted. Massachusetts goes ahead and opens fire. He knows where he's going. He doesn't want to make it wait. And 4,500, trying to back up, trying to break free. Down to 2,600. No more heal for him. Some shells coming from the big boys over at the Kremlin side. And down to 552 health on BLEP's Massachusetts. Mikasa down to 5k. More shells coming from the Kurfürst of Das Kommandant, and that's going to finish. That's going to finish the Massachusetts, but that Massachusetts got traded for the mighty Mikasa, keeping the points exactly even. Tier 8 ship, Tier 2 ship, the scoreboard does not care. It's going to leave us with a health trade that has turned the corner. 104. Oh, and as I say that, there's a big chunk. Nope, 149 to 161. No longer is BLEP on the lower end of that spectrum. The Conqueror heal able to make up the difference, and then some. Conqueror of Das Kommandant trying to hide behind the island, although the Suvorov is able to continue with the spot while still taking fire. But some fast footwork out of the Tier 4 ship. Tier 3 ship, sorry. A little bit of a three-step going on. Kurfürst of History Buff hitting the fuck it button as he now charges into the crossfire of a Georgia Kurfürst and Kremlin. Going into the middle cap. Outer ring is secured as the Suvorov continues to run. Not sure why he's spotted out at that distance. Distance of 13 kilometers, he could be holding this outer ring, but the outer ring does fall to AFRICOM, and that's going to start ticking. That might be BLEP's demise. As History Buff moves in for the kill, trying to fight with Satyr UAW, taking an aggressive position to block off the Kurfürst of Das Kommandant. Das Kommandant able to quickly slam the engine forward looking for a crossfire shot, but not able to get there quickly as battleships are slow. Satyr UAW getting chiseled by secondaries of Kurfürst, as well as shots from both the Conqueror and his wounded warrior. And the Suvorov is starting to turn around, trying to recontest the outer ring. As the Kurfürst of Das Kommandant is moving up into a position to take advantage of this, and after taking advantage of this, to take advantage of this. This is looking kind of rough for the Rats. History Buff down to 11. Shot's going to be barked from Das Kommandant, and I think that's going to be all she wrote in any time now. There's even a heal triggered. Oh, he's waiting just to get super clear of those trees, and now he's got the gun lines. Guns are out. Boom. History Buff is sent to the books. That Kurfürst going down in history as one who chose to die in the middle of the map. Conqueror of Desolate now stuck in a crossfire between the Georgia and the Kurfürst, trying desperately to burn down the Kremlin with holy shit shells, but the GK finding purchase, sliding into the Conqueror's DMs, and turns out Desolate's love life being a little bit desolate, Kurfürst's able to make a bit of a case for himself. Can see the resistance weakening, but Conqueror trying to hold it off. More shells come. That's going to be the end of the Conqueror as Desolate decides to take the invite to the party. Fine, I'll go. Under the sea, under the sea. He goes indeed. Suvorov, the last one on the map. Wibalon is, ain't one to run from a fight. Shells coming in, thumpity thump. Still has 20,000 health, looking at a Kurfürst that's angling to broadside. Big guns to bear. Kurfürst waiting for the angle. Not going to be able to turn the guns in time. Sneaky ass Suvorov able to drive on by, bam, gets a few hits in there, but the rear guns, those rear guns were in the position. That's going to be AFRICOM 3, BLEP Rats 0. A good effort, sirs.